Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Luca Russia, and today I want to talk about the zombie storyline, and more specifically, is it too complicated right now? I do want to say right away that this is going to be one of my more candid videos where it's not as professional as my usual ones, so if I miss something or I mess something up, I'm sorry, but I just kind of want to talk. But with all that out of the way, I think that there's too much information in the zombie storyline right now, and I think that Treyarch actually needs to start trimming the fat in a way with all this information, because I like what they did with Black Ops 2 where they said, okay, well, basically we're going to eliminate this whole year cycle that we did, and we're just going to take little bits and pieces and we're going to choose what we want from it, and we're going to really sit down and say, okay, well, we're going to take the very important stuff and we're going to keep that, but all the very small information we're just going to scrap. I really did like that, because right now with zombies it feels like there's too much, because with the community as it is, we ask every single question about every single little thing. There's nothing that we can just sit there and go, okay, well, you know, we have no questions about that, we're good with it, that's fine. We're always going to ask questions about something, and then with Treyarch, they're always going to have an answer for us, but then all that does is create more questions, specifically with the zombies timeline, because what that was supposed to do is that was supposed to clear up a lot of questions that we had, but then all that did was create more questions. And I get it, there was supposedly things that was in there, you know, the Treyarch actually wanted to hint at, you know, especially with, okay, well, let's say, you know, Samantha's reaching across different timelines to actually help Maxis not be corrupted by the Dark Aether anymore. Things like that, you know, were thrown in there to purposely ask more questions. But the thing is that at some point, Treyarch really just does need to say, okay, well, this is the final cut clear answer on this, okay, that's done, let's move on. And they need to do that with more than, let's just say, okay, well, now we know where the denizens and the Avogadro were made from transit. They need to do that with large bits of information, because right now, there's too much stuff for anyone to really understand. Even the people like Mr. Waffles, Radawson27, Johnny J, they need to refer back to everything, and even they don't know everything. There's so much information out there that no one can truly know everything, and that kind of sucks. And especially for, let's say, you were a person that you want to get into zombies, and you want to start knowing the timeline, right? You can read the timeline and you have no idea what's going on, even if you played every single one of those games. You need to go and listen to the radios, you need to actually dig in and look through theory videos on YouTube, you need to do all kinds of research on it. And there's no way that a person that is very casual and hasn't been in the community before can, in a reasonable time, know everything about zombies. Even I, as a YouTuber who's been in the community for the last 6 years and it's basically my job to know zombies, doesn't know everything. I know a little bit about each and every little thing, but I couldn't tell you specific dates off the top of my head for everything. And there's stuff that I still look through the timeline today, or I still go back and I find a radio and I'm like, oh yeah, hey, wait, I haven't heard that one before, that's actually really cool. Because there's so much stuff out there, and I think at some point it literally is just too much. But as I said, I think that's just a product of the community that Treyarch has actually, you know, gotten themselves, because they know that we ask so many questions and they're always going to try to provide an answer for us, whether that be cryptic or not. But even if they do provide those cryptic answers, all that does is ask more questions. Then it's just a infinite cycle of more and more and more and more. And I really think that that is eventually going to kind of crumble down on them, because there is no way that Treyarch can ever fully answer every question that we have. And I think that at some point we just have to sit down and say, okay, well, we're never going to know everything about zombies. There is too much going on in all these infinite universes, all these different dimensions, whatever it is, for Treyarch to really, in a reasonable time as a game studio, to answer everything. There's just no way that they can do that. And the last thing that I want to talk about is, does all of this information drive newer people that want to learn the storyline away from learning everything? Because let's say you're a person that's pretty casual with zombies, right? You know most of the Easter eggs, you watch a couple YouTubers, right? But you're not really way too into the storyline. And let's say you decide, alright, well, I want to learn some of it, right? You look at the timeline, you look at all this, you know, big swirly thing, right? And then you go, okay, wow, that's a lot of information. And then you actually look at it more, and then you're, okay, that intrigues me. You go look up a video about something, right? And then you realize it's just a one big rabbit hole that basically the timeline is, let's say, 1% of the total information we know about zombies, and you're like, well, that is way too much information, I'm not going to bother to learn that, because I feel like it is something that is conducive to driving people away from learning everything. I don't think that zombies as a whole really drives people away. I think that's something that it'll always continue to grow, but I think at some point Treyarch really does, and I'm going to go back to this, does need to start trimming fat, like, just information wholesale, because the thing is that if there's too much information, it leads to too many questions, and I've said this before, but there's so many questions that need to be answered, and there's too much information to really answer all those questions. So I think the Treyarch really just needs to sit down and say, okay, well, what's canon, what isn't, and we just need to, you know, like I said, do what they did with Black Ops 2 and say, alright, well, well, this information no longer matters if it doesn't actually matter and they're never going to use it in the future. But this is just one man's opinion, though. I know not everyone's going to agree with me on this. I know that there's going to be people going like, oh, you're just stupid, you can learn all of it in like 3 days if you really want to. I sat down and I did it like in May or something and I know everything, right? I know that there's going to be people that are going to do that, but I'm just talking as a general statement and as someone who's a YouTuber and talking from a person who was once a casual player, and I've seen casual players, you know, with these experiences, right? I just wanted to talk about it, but tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think the timeline is too complicated at this point? While you're down there, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe if you guys haven't done so already, and turn on the notifications because you're my daddy. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.